Hey, so a few weeks ago I arrived in Bangkok and I stayed there for 12 days or so. During this time I stayed at 4 different hotels/hostels. These. So if you came here looking for information on these ones, click the one you want and it should take you to the part of the video where I talk about the particular one. Anyway, I had a great time in Bangkok. I spent the time meeting friends, hanging out the old places I used to hang out and eating at the same restaurants. But anyway, let's get down to the accommodation stuff. But anyway, my name is Sami and welcome to Traveling Wrong. So the first one, the Chilly Bangkok Hotel. Stayed there 4 nights. So when I arrived to Bangkok, I wanted something with my own peace and my own air conditioning that I can control to my liking to help me cope with the heat for the first few days. As I still wanted to stay on budget, I chose this one as it was 500 baht a night, which is like 12.5 euros. Also, I really like the design. As anyone who's discussed architecture or interior design stuff with me knows that I love this concrete finish. So I'm not lying, that was a big reason why I chose this one. Location isn't great, but it's not that bad either. It's 10-15 minute walk from Hua Lamphong metro station. Maybe even less, I'm not sure. It's in a small valley and overall it's a really nice place to stay. The room isn't as great as it looks in the picture, but it's not that bad. It's quite small and the AC isn't the best, but it's not too bad either. Overall, it's a very good value for money. So, I could go again. Anyway, next, Thrive the Hostel. I stayed there 4 nights. This hostel is amazing. So after spending 500 a night, I wanted something cheaper and started looking for hostels. This one looked great and the location was awesome. So I chose it. It was like 240 baht a night. That's 6 euros pretty much. Maybe even a tiny bit less. It's right on Rama 4 Road and it's very close to Samyan metro station and also just a short walk away from Saladang BTS SkyTrain station. It looks great, the facilities are great and the beds are great too. The staff is very nice and they speak great English. You can even have a normal conversation with them, which isn't always granted on hostels and hotels around here. Sometimes you cannot even communicate your accommodation stuff, but with them you can just chit-chat whatever. The hot shower promised isn't always hot and sometimes it's a bit too warm all the time, but overall it's quite good. The toilets don't have locks on these glass doors, but they do have separate facilities for men and women. The only real downside with this hostel is one thing that's also one of the good things, the thing that it's right on Rama 4 Road. It's a good location, but the traffic noise never really stops. So if you're a really light sleeper, it might not be a good pick for you. But if a little traffic noise that's loud sometimes don't bother you, this is your pick. Combined with the good stuff and the price, this isn't much of a trade-off. Seriously, if you're considering this hostel, do it. So then, Saturn Saint View Apartments. I stayed there 2 nights. So after staying at the hostel for 4 nights, I started looking at hostels and hotels again. I found this one. And even though it was 550 baht, so a bit more than my first hotel, I went with it because it had a rooftop pool and I really thought that's a pretty good value for money. That's like 13-14 euros. So with the rooftop pool, I decided to spend this money for 2 nights. It's more like serviced apartment than a hotel, and I've got a feeling that a lot of the guests there were a bit longer term guests. There was a garden area on the rooftop next to the pool and there even was a small gym and stuff. So nice here. Too bad it's not good for my budget. Even though it is quite cheap. It's a bit weird. On the hallways you see random stuff laying around. It's not the best place, but overall it's a big room, hot shower, rooftop pool. That's value. Also the restaurant was quite good and it was very reasonably priced for a hotel. Not that much more than a street food in the area actually. The location is on a small street and it's a bit of a walk. But also it's a nice quiet area. Out of all the places I stayed, this one was the furthest away from 7-Eleven. But there was a small shop in the lobby to buy drinks and stuff. And the next one, the Cow Hostel or Mad Cow Hostel on Sukhumvit. They have different branches. This is Sukhumvit branch. I stayed there for the last 2 nights before leaving here to Koh Tao. Also, this one was by far the worst of the 4. The location is pretty much on Sukhumvit Road, just behind the shopping center called Terminal 21. The location is great. It's right next to Asok intersection, which everybody knows in Bangkok. In this intersection, also the BTS, the SkyTrain system, and the MRT, the metro system cross, so it's close to both of these stations, just a few minutes walk. The location in this part is also great. The price is also good. It was 220 bahts a night, which is a tiny bit cheaper than the last one, 5.5 euros. But considering my last experience in this hostel that was a tiny bit more expensive, I cannot say too many good things about this. But at the same time, if I wasn't spoiled by this great hostel, this is pretty much what I would expect from the hostel this price. So, when I checked in, the woman tried to put me in a dorm that I had booked, but couldn't find me a free bed. So, she put me on a private room, which was pretty nice for the money, but also it was a very hot room. There was AC, but it was one of those standalone units that was in the room, so the backside was spilling hot air on the room at the same time as the machine was blowing cold air off the front. There was a pipe going out, but still it was cool on the airflow, but the overall temperature of the room never went down 27 or something, or probably even higher. But basically it was a free room for me, so I wasn't complaining. But if I would have paid the full price, which was quite a bit more than a hostel room, I would have been a bit pissed of this air conditioning situation. Well, but that fun day didn't last long. In the evening, the boss came and wanted me out of there. The woman tried to inform me like half an hour before this happened, but we couldn't really communicate, like we really couldn't when I checked in either. For example, I had paid by credit card already online, and she tried to ask me to pay like 3 times. She didn't quite get that. But, you know, it's not her fault really. So the deal was, one guy had overstayed, and that's why there wasn't a free bed for me. They almost kicked the guy out, but then they found a bed for me in a different dorm. I'm not sure, but judging from the people there, it might have been a female dorm. So I stayed there. Also on the second night, the woman also asked me to move, but this time just to the next bunk. Or actually it turned out she asked me if I wanted to move to this one. And it was a bigger, bit wider and nicer bed, so yeah, I did. So that was pretty good. I'm not sure if the girl below me on the last bunk had suggested it to them, because the lightweight bunk was moving quite a bit when I moved on the top bunk. But who knows? Good for me anyway. But yeah, for a hostel that advertised free Wi-Fi with big letters, the internet sucked. I think the free internet was even written on the room name on some booking sites. For someone who advertised the internet that much, the internet was really spotty at times, it didn't work all the time, and it wasn't fast ever. The toilet in the room didn't have a sink, that was a bit weird, but also when their shower is there, you don't necessarily need it. The shower was pretty good. There was AC and some fans in the room, but there was also a lot of curtains, so especially in the top bunk it was a bit too hot for me still. Especially with this mattress where you pretty much sink in. Second night that wasn't a problem. There was less people, I can move one fan right to me, and the bed was better. Not the hottest hostel I've been even on the first night, but still not pleasant. Anyway, I probably won't be returning there, but the location is very good, so that's very appealing too. So that's my take on the hostels and hotels. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them on the comments below or on my Facebook site Traveling Wrong. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for future videos. And always remember, traveling wrong, there's really no such thing. Also, if you haven't seen my previous videos, like the video I posted last week about how to get to Koh Tao, click here to watch that video and go to my channel for other videos. Videos from here coming up at some point. Anyway, thanks for watching. Ciao!